Then let's give a shout out to the junior athletes because the U.S. under 20 men and under 20 women both come away with team medals. And let's start with the women because I think the women's result was more impressive. They get third in this race. Okay, maybe some teams aren't totally full strength, but if you look, there's really two powers in women's distance running. It's Ethiopia and Kenya, and U.S. was number 3 behind them. Usually, Japan is getting the bronze in this race. The U.S. beat Japan head to head. Ellie Shea was 10th overall. She's a junior in high school. That's the best finish by an American women's junior athlete at this meet since Melody Fairchild got the bronze in 1991. And then right behind her, Irene Riggs, the NXN champion, she's 12th. Karrie Baloga, the Foot Locker champion, she's 13th. And Zariel Macchia, who is the U.S. cross champion in 2022, she's 19th. That's a team of high schoolers. So all of them except Riggs will be coming back next year if they choose to, getting the bronze medal at the World Champs, the first ever by a U.S. junior team. On the women's side, that's terrific. And then the men's race, similar. They weren't quite as impressive as the women, and they also benefited. Eritrea, which is often a medalist here, did not send a team. And Uganda sounded like they had visa problems. They had 3 athletes, but they didn't have enough for a full scoring team. All 3 of the Ugandans finished ahead of the Americans, but they didn't have a full team. So the U.S. gets the team bronze medal, led by Leo Young in 18th place. Really impressive stuff for them.
It was fun to see those kids so excited. You got to talk to them. The joy, apparently, people were getting mad at Jonathan Galt in the mix zone because the U.S. boys, when John was interviewing them, were making so much noise. Some of the journalists like, you got to quiet them down. John's like, I'm not making the noise; they're making the noise. So, really cool to see those young people want to represent the country, get a free trip. Hopefully, that all the other teenagers. Because remember, like the last time we had a world cross country was 4 years ago. We had someone posting on the message board that they were at the Foot Locker, what's it called now? Whatever the Foot Locker is called now, Sports Championships in California. And they were telling the juniors about this race, and a lot of them didn't know about it or wanted to go. But now when they see the Youngs going, Irene Riggs going, etc., maybe everybody will want to go. But looks like, Weldon, we've lost John with internet some problems. But he was complaining heading into Australia. It was very hard to get a visa, and they wanted him to get a special visa that costed $300. He's like, it shouldn't cost me $300 to get in the country. I said, John, just don't complain. It's on the Let's Run credit card. He didn't realize I was sending some extra money for the visa agencies to decline the visas to the Ugandan athletes so that the U.S. junior boys would get that medal. That's a joke, people.
Having some audio issues here behind the scenes with John in Australia. I guess that underground cable got cut. But John wasn't here to cut Robert off from just going on about some long-winded thing about blocking the Ugandan visas. In terms of juniors, the boys were so pumped. They're also delirious. We cut out part of this video because they were so excited, and one of them had essentially passed out on the course. I've never seen something like this. John was like, "Do you think we can play this whole video?" We made this is probably the first time John, as a journalist, made the discretion. He's like, "I don't think the whole video should go up."
Well, one of the athletes, Weldon, was so dehydrated or whatever. It seemed like he was drunk. Like, he stumbled into the interview area and was just yelling, and I was like, whoever released him from whatever medical station he was in, he was like, yeah, I almost passed out. And I'm like, what do you mean you almost passed out? Like, what? Whoever released him, I don't think they should have released him because he was certainly not ready to go in front of a camera. He's only a teenager. I didn't feel it was fair to, when he's probably not going to remember anything that happened. But they were understandably pumped. It was awesome. And the funny thing is they start chanting USA, USA. And there is something of a stereotype of the obnoxious American around the world. And I'm going to say that wasn't well received in the mix zone because other people were trying to do interviews at the same time. Another journalist came up to me afterwards. He's like, you have to have more quiet interviews. Like, no one else can hear anything. They can't do their own interviews. Like, this is a shared space. I was like, I'm sorry, man. I wasn't the one yelling USA. It was those guys. So they were very excited. I can understand why. And it was a good run. It was a really tough course. They ran a really smart race. They stayed patient. I was very impressed by all of them.
I don't like John. I didn't know about this editing of a interview. Doesn't surprise me. John did it to protect a bunch of males.
Medical professionals. I'm serious. Can you get like delirium or something from like almost passing out in a race? I've never seen something like this. It was crazy. Robert, I'll send you the clip. In terms of the women, play it back next year. They need to go back to Croatia. And I mean, just great running all around.
Let's give a shout out to the coaches. Normally, I think the coaching staff is like, just like you're the Olympic coach. It doesn't mean anything. All you do is tell people to get on a bus. But in this case, these junior athletes on the men's side, credit the Oklahoma State coach Dave Smith for telling them, like, look, you guys have got to go out conservatively and have something left. And they were only sixth place halfway and they ended up getting the medal. And Katie McGregor was the U.S. women's coach. I don't know if she told the women something similar. So it did help. And I actually was talking to Dave at the USA Championships in Richmond. I said, man, I hope to see you out there. I love seeing you at World Cross because he goes a lot. I'm like, do you get a lot out of it? Do you get like recruiting? He's like, no, I wasn't really planning on going. They just kind of called me last minute. So I'm glad that he did get something out of it. Like, he actually helped this team win a medal. And it's a shame that the storm blew in because, John, I really wanted you to interview him. I assume Dave got up in the middle of the night because like a few hours before, his Oklahoma State men broke the NCAA DMR record. They ran 9:16.40, 2:49 opening leg, 46.8, 1:47.2, and then a 3:52 anchor for Ryan Scopey. So pretty cool. I don't know how many hour period it was, about 12 hours for Dave Smith. So I'm glad the trip ended up. His guys can run well without him, it shows, and the juniors probably needed some good coaching anyways.